All right, cool. So now we got our angle iron. Also, what we did is while we took a break, we marked right on the wall there our coursing, just so we can have an easy reference. We can pretty much, that can be our height point, and we can make everything level to that point. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to put a line on the front. So you got a line? Can we hang the line on the front of this thing? All right. We're going to set this angle iron as well. So while he's getting that line on, I'm going to grab this angle iron. We got our 48-inch angle iron. All right, I'm going to clean out this corner in here. Before I put it in, make sure the bottom's clean. And then what we do is you set this angle iron. A lot of the books show to set it backwards. So we're going to do that. We're going to set this thing backwards just like that. And then the face of it, it comes right to the face here. All right. So there you go, there's our angle iron. And now, once you put your angle iron across, we start laying brick again. All right? As Beat's hanging that up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna spread. We're gonna lay another course of brick on top. But remember, we're gonna start corbling right away. The problem is you can't necessarily corbel right away off of this. You can corbel a little bit on the steel, but the key is with this steel from the front back, you just can't cover this. You can't cover the damper opening because too quickly, because you might go corbel too far too fast, and then that door is not going to open and close. All right, good. All right, we'll put this down here for now. All right. So I just wanted to put the line on because we're going to start laying past this. All right, so Beat, you can spread and we're going to lay this course. Yeah. And look, we're going to spread. We're going to go right across this opening too with brick. So the first one I'm going to lay, I'm going to go right across this angle iron. I'm not going to put any mortar on the angle iron itself, but I'm going to throw a head joint on this brick. I'm actually doing this backwards, and you can see what happens when I do it left-handed. So I'm going to slide it on here. I'm going to squeeze that up, and then we're going to lay brick right across here. When you lay on an angle iron, you put it on the angle iron and you slide it in because you don't want any mortar. I hope I'm not in your way, B. Trying to stay out of the way of the camera here. That fit? Here, we'll double butter that. Double buttering an angle iron is always weird because then you push the mortar down and it gets onto the angle iron and it never goes down. So you gotta be careful with that. All right, and I'm gonna lay all this brick. And when you're building this, you try to be on half on as much as you can, but it's hard to, I'm not gonna say it's not possible, but. All right, and this is where we're gonna start corbling. So this first one that I put on, can you see this one here? I'm gonna make sure I gotta corbel this one a full inch. So basically when I lay that first one to start, you can always like follow your lines on the front here, but I see my line, my first line is right here. So I'm just, first by eye, I'm just gonna lay that brick right to that line. I can always double check it, like check underneath and make sure it's an inch with my tape and check. But you know, once you put those layout lines on, you can pretty much follow those layout lines and they'll be pretty good. Now I'm just gonna squeeze this down in here so they're even. Good, and then I'm gonna lay these bricks across. Like I said, the more layout lines you can put in, the better off you'll be. More of a handle. All right. And then we're gonna push this out all the way to the back so it looks like
you're stack bonding it.
You know, there will be some stack bond. What I'm going to do, Gage, is I'm going to butter this up, and I'm going to try to lay this brick as much on half bond as possible, like that. Right. The problem is, you know, you can see that, and straight against the back wall. You can see I got a gap there, but with that gap, I'm just going to fill that with mortar, and then I'm going to span that gap with the next brick. And then the cool thing about the back wall is it just goes straight across. And then I just hit my marks, that's all. The key is on that back wall, hit your marks. So if your marks are there, if you do it ahead of time, you don't have to do any plumbing and leveling. You can see it's a little bit of reach, so really make sure that you set your scaffold up the right way. I just needed a piece for back there, and then Pete will just run into my piece. And that's pretty much it, you know. And then we basically just gotta match all of our layout lines and our corbel lines. That's where the corbel lines in the back come in handy. And then you just level everything around. It's gonna be a little bit weird because I can't level right there. I'd have to use my 2-foot level. Just level this up to the front. Pretty good. All right, let's get it on. All right, we'll level that back up. If you wanted to, you could always also put level lines on the back wall. At the coursings that we marked, you can just put level lines if you want, and you can hit those. And then I'm gonna straight edge this. I see it's got a little belly in there, so basically you got to get these nice and straight. It's gonna be corbelled heavier here than it is over there, right? What's up, Pete?
So for the back, I know it says it needs to go in a 1/4 inch each course.
Yeah.
So would you offset this 1/4 inch each course this way?
Yeah, well, you can do that. Like, so Beat's asking, you know, the back's only a 1/4 inch,
Or could you
and if
just
you can,
wait till you get closer and then come see?
well, you know, what I recommend to you guys is to mark that on the back wall. So we didn't mark everything. Like, there's some more things we could have marked. We could have marked with our heights, put some level lines. You can also mark where you're starting to where you got to go, and then mark each line, just like we did on the front, on how you got a corbel. So that's only going to be a 1/4 inch, whereas in this was 1 inch. And then when I laid this brick here, Steve, all I did was match the tip of this brick up with my line for the mark. And then you can do that by eye. You can check it with the level. I know for me, like, eye should be good enough, but if you're not there yet, you can use a level and you can plumb this up to make sure you have all your marks correct. And you're just going to slowly work your way over. So these two are very self-explanatory and easy once you get to that point. Here you go, I'll give you that. So this looks pretty good. It is a little difficult in the front, because then when we go to lay the next one, another place you could even put your heights, you could even transfer your heights right to the front here. And you could lay the bricks in the front right to the line. Now we're going to start corbelling this front back, and it's the same concept. You just got to find out, you know, from this back wall, you know, how thick your flue liner is, how far you have to go, how many courses you have, and then how much you have to corbel each one. And with this, we got to go back pretty far, pretty fast. But the key is just make sure that you don't cover this too quickly. So the next course, here, just raise that line up. We'll just go on 6s right now. You got your spacing rule. I want to just put that line in a 6. Because that's what we're going on, you know, on 6s. And I'll do the same thing. I'll set this line to 6. I would put these marks right on the front. The more marks you can have, the easier it is. Good. All right, cool. We'll do that here. We're gonna lay that to a 6, and good. All right, and then with this course, this next one we do can probably be either, see, it won't, not a full header, because a full header might block your damper lid from opening. I had a brick, you know, you can make 6-inch halves, and then you can do a 6-inch header. I saw a bricklayer show me this little trick. You can kind of, you take the bottom corner out, and you could lay this, and that would give you enough space so that damper lid will open. Or you can just go right across here with some, you know, 3/4 headers. So we'll spread mortar in here, right? And then there's a little gap back in there that can get filled. I'm not too worried about that. You want to try to, maybe you want to cover that up, which Beat did. And then basically we're just going to lay these headers right across. I try to make my headers fall in the head joints, and then I'm going to work these headers right across. right to the line. And I'm gonna just make a couple. Saving all this stuff, I might be able to use it somewhere. I try not to let the brick fall on my toes because it ruins your boots. Alright, just making a bunch of headers, or 6-inch headers. They don't have to be perfect. And then I'm just gonna lay them in there, throw some head joints. Once again, nice and tight. Alright, I'm just gonna drop that in there like that, right to the line. That's why I like laying to the line.
Why do we want to do a header course here?
Because that's a great question. Beat said, why do we want to do a header course? To me, the header course, I'll show you why. Hold on. We're going to get this header course in. At least let me get this last one laid. I'm not going to explain it a little bit better. It's almost better if I show it to you, but the thing is with this header course, we got to corbel this back, right? So we put the header course in because it locks everything in, ties everything in. Then this next course that we lay, right? It can be a full brick like this, and then it can be a full brick back here, corbelled off of that header. You see it's corbelling it back. So that header is a 6-inch header that, you know, is basically corbelling it back. And then we can basically do double wide brick here. And then what happens is you want to run the face of this up, so this will stay half bond brick, and then behind it, we're going to be slowly corbelling that back. So that's why I do the header course in there. At least that works for me, you know? Make sense?
Yeah, how do you know how far back you have to go?
Well,
This way.
it's the same thing as, it's a great question. It's the same thing as how we figured it out here. So basically, you know, to figure out how far we got to corbel back, you know, off this back wall, the flue is going to sit right to there. We take the measurement of the flue, we take this overall measurement, subtract the flue out, and whatever's left over, divide that by the number of courses we have, and that'll tell us how much we need to corbel back. I'm pretty sure that the amount we have to corbel back this way is roughly the same as how far we got to go. It's pretty much an inch, might even be a little heavy. So that's why you've got to you got to start getting back quick, but you can't get back so quick that you cover that opening up, because, you know, the problem is, you know, if you cover the opening, then you can't open the damper, you know, major fail. So, and then what you do is you basically build this up and you slowly corbel it in until it can hold the flue on the top, and then the flue sits right on top, kind of like those, and that's pretty much it. And as you go up, you gotta parge that nice and clean. You gotta keep the floor that nice and clean. It should be like a smooth, clean area on the inside there. All right, sound good?
Yeah.
All right, good. So you guys got any questions?
Aren't you supposed to do all that with the damper door open?
Yes, and that's right out of the book. It says do that with the damper door open, and that ensures that that it will be able to close. You know.
How do you put the damper door in?
Well, the damper. This is the yeah. Damper door's a little bit broken, so I can show you how they work. You know, this is more for just the training of that fireplace. But all right, we good? We got any more questions? Cool. So thank you. That's how you build a smoke chamber 2023. Thanks.